Hey man, what it is? This is Dame, and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go to Cash App, $ Dean by any means. There go to PayPal at Dean by any means. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It is much, much, much appreciate it. Hey, yeah. And you see that heart at the bottom of this video with the $? You could press that at any time your heart desires. But more importantly, make sure you press that like button. It's free. So either you're not pressing it because you a hater or you're a hater. Let's talk about something, man. Brian Norman Sr., let me holler at you. I told you every time you do this, sir, we on your neck. Every time you do this, son, we on your neck, my guy. You're destroying your son's career. And the problem is your son is not that talented for you to be doing all of the stuff that you're doing. The way Brian Norman Sr. is going around here talking about his son as if Brian Norman Jr. is one of the best fighters in boxing. Hey, sir, he's not. He's just another guy at a weak weight division that's a champion. He hasn't unified. He hasn't done nothing in the sport of boxing for you to be poking your chest out like that. You ducked Jaronennis in front of the whole world and then lied. And then lied about what your son was getting paid. And then lied saying that you didn't have fights set up. What I've come to find out about you is you're starting to go down the wrong path. You want to be Bill Haney so bad. The problem is you're not even counterfeit. You're not even Floyd Schofield Sr. yet. You talking a big game like you big dog, but you in the little kennel. So now what's going to happen is when your son lose, I don't want to hear you talking about everybody hating on your son because you put your child in this situation. Because you keep talking about he 23 years old, he got time. Well, let him have time then, sir. Let him prove it first, and then you go out here and talk. But the way you talk as if he's proven it already, all Brian Norman Jr. has proven is that he could get dropped, he's fought less than stellar competition, and he's ducked Jaronennis. You sitting out here bragging about sparring a 135 pounder and nobody believes you. You're out here telling Zab Judah, a former undisputed champion, one of the greatest fighters of all time, about boxing. Are you serious? If you knew so much about boxing, why weren't you that good? Clearly, you don't know that much because if you don't know this about boxing, y'all, boxing is more about your brain than it is about your talent. There's plenty of fighters. Arthur Beterbiev is not the most talented fighter in the world, but his IQ is very high. Your IQ in boxing could take you a long way. Shakur Stevenson is not the most talented fighter. He don't got a lot of power. He ain't got all of these muscles and super speed and super strength and the best footwork in boxing or none of that. You know what Shakur Stevenson's greatest asset is? His mind. Brian Norman Sr., you're destroying your son's career. Your son was about to be a co-main under Keyshawn Davis, sir. Your son was about to be a co-main to a guy that has less fights than him. Have you ever headlined in Atlanta, but you're sitting up there talking about Jaronennis as if you're on his level? Show us. Take the money. Fight him then. So Brian Norman Sr., I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. If your son comes back and fights somebody that's a top 15 guy, he's not even nobody we know, I'm going to kill your son every chance I get, bro. You want the attention, you got it. We're going to give you the attention that you want. It just may not be that you just may not like it too much, and I don't care about that. You're harming your son's career. It ain't been a YouTube content creator anywhere that thinks Brian Norman Jr. is a top 10, top 20 fighter, sir. The only person that thinks that is you. You know we've watched your son fight too, right? Brian Norman Sr. runs around and talks as if we haven't watched his son prior to him even coming on YouTube, bro. You're new to this, sir. Your son been fighting. We've been watching your son fight longer than you've been going on YouTube talking about him. You can't tell us nothing about Brian Norman Jr., sir. We've seen it all. We've seen everything we need to see. that he was in dog matches, that he wasn't, that his last performances before this Toledo performance was less than stellar, sir. So if you knew so much, why isn't your son a superstar already? If you know it all. If your son is this, that, and the third, why isn't he there? Why isn't he headlining? Why isn't he at the top of the sport? If you knew so much. But clearly you don't. You just like running your mouth. And again, why do you have more interviews than your son? You're living vicariously through your child, sir. Yes, you are. Because, and you're even worse than counterfeiting Bill because you was a boxer. So I literally got reason to believe that you are jealous and wish you was your child. You're not. Let him talk. We don't want to hear from you. And we actually like Brian Norman Jr.'s personality. He's nothing like you. But you're going to seep him in with all of this darkness, and you're going to poison your child with all of this bull stuff because you think that what you're doing is helping you. Mill City Boxing is going to let you dig your own grave. Stop thinking that's your friend, sir. He's not. The minute your son loses, the minute your son is out the picture, he's not going to be calling you for interviews no more. I'm telling you, my guy. I am telling you what's going to happen. There'll be another fighter. The person that beats up your son will wind up being on Mill City Boxing talking. I'm telling you what I know, not what I think, sir. You're a disgrace and still haven't gotten a haircut yet. It has been months and you haven't gotten a year haircut yet, but you showing cars and old schools, but you ain't got time to stop at the barbershop. You could talk to somebody who don't know better, bro. We know plenty better. And please don't come for me, my guy, because you ain't got enough bread. I promise you. I promise you that, my guy. Not enough to where I will be impressed by it. Dudes who talk like you, I know really don't got it. Because if you did, your son would be much further in the sport, Brody. If you really had that bread like you was talking about, your son would be much further in the sport. And if you know this game of boxing, if you understand, you understand. Yeah, money can help your son get much further in the sport of boxing. Clearly, you don't have it like that. If you did, your son wouldn't be fighting for 200,000, 100,000. There's so much more things you can do if you really had the bag like that to get your son's name out there. But you falling into the same trap that everybody else is falling in. How has that worked for Kid Austin? Can somebody tell me how that's worked for Devin Haney? The problem is Devin Haney was much more accomplished than your son before Bill even started doing all of this stuff. He was actually on that trajectory. Your son's not. Nobody thinks your son is this amazing fighter, sir. I mean, I hate to give you this wake-up call, but I'm telling you the truth. Your son is like above average. We don't think he's the talent Abdullah Mason is, or Carmel Moton, or Gervonta Davis, or Shakur Stevenson, or Keyshawn Davis, just to give you a few. We don't put your son in that talent pool. You're digging a slow grave, and I'm going to be here to throw the dirt on you when it happens, because I know your son is going to lose again. Your son is not going to go through his career undefeated. Your son is not that caliber of fighter, my guy. He's not. I don't think he could beat a Stanionis. He's going to have a hard enough time with Mario Barrios, and we all know he can't beat Jaronennis. That's why you won't let him get in the ring with him. You can't talk a big game with a small pot. If anybody that gambled, they know what I'm talking about. You can't talk big game with a small pot. If you think your son is like that, then you need to make sure he is getting those fights to prove he's like that. You're talking as if your son's Gervonta Davis. He's nowhere close. He's never even headlined before. You understand that? Get a headline first, then start talking. You're trying to build your son's name off of Jerron Boots Ennis. So what I'm going to do is get likes and views off of you and your son's name. What's good for the goose, right? You got the nerve to be sitting up there trying to tell Zab Judah about boxing when you was a boxer yourself. I know y'all close in age. You wasn't close to him. What advice could Zab Judah take from you? You want to help promote your son, my guy? You're doing it, but you're doing it totally the wrong way. And you're going to fall like we have seen so many fall before you. Your son's not even Teofimo Lopez, sir. You understand that? Out of all the champions at 140, people think your son is the weakest at that division. You know how many people that don't think your son can beat Karen Kuka Dodges, but you won't even fight him. But you sitting up there running your mouth. I'm pretty sure Karen Kuka Dodges would love that opportunity. But we all know what you're going to do. Hey, y'all, I guarantee you that when Brian Norman Jr. comes back, y'all, he's going to take a light touch. I guarantee you that. Because I can hear from the way his daddy talk. That's not going to get your son to the promised land. You're a disgrace and you're a joke. You're literally a joke. Y'all know what this is, though, right? Deem by any means. And I holla at y'all.